15 fascinating facts about the Huns, history's nomadic warriors. The Huns, a group of nomadic people who appeared in Europe during the 4th century AD, have a rich and fascinating history. Who were the Hunnic people? Where did they come from? What did they look like? And what happened to them? Fact number 1. Historians are still unsure where the Hunnic people originated from. The Huns, a nomadic group whose early history is shrouded in mystery, are traditionally believed to have originated from the steppes of Central Asia. This belief is rooted in their sudden appearance in European historical records during the 4th century AD, which coincided with migrations from Asia. Their origins, however, remain debated among historians, with some theories suggesting possible links to various earlier nomadic cultures of the Eurasian steppe. The Huns' sudden emergence in Europe and the scarcity of their own written records have made it challenging to precisely trace their roots. Theories about their ancestry range from being descendants of the Xiongnu, a nomadic people from the eastern steppes, to having ties with other Central Asian tribes. Archaeological findings such as burial sites and artifacts provide some clues, but are often insufficient for definitive conclusions. The Huns' enigmatic origin continues to fascinate researchers, as it plays a crucial role in understanding the dynamics of Eurasian nomadic cultures and their impact on the world stage. Fact number 2. Attila the Hun was one of the most feared rulers in history. Attila the Hun, the most renowned leader of the Huns, reigned from the year 434 until his death in 453 AD. He is often referred to as the Scourge of God, a moniker that reflects the fear and awe he inspired across Europe. Attila's rule marked the pinnacle of Hunnic power, with his formidable military campaigns stretching from the Ural River to the Rhine River and from the Danube River to the Baltic Sea. His invasions into the Balkans and Western Europe caused widespread devastation and played a significant role in the ongoing decline of the Roman Empire. Attila's leadership style was characterized by both ruthlessness and political shrewdness. He skillfully negotiated with the Roman Empire, extracting large sums of money and securing territorial concessions. His death under mysterious circumstances marked a significant turning point. Without his unifying presence, the Hunnic Empire faced internal strife and external pressures, leading to its rapid disintegration. Attila's legacy endures in history and folklore, symbolizing the might and terror of the Hunnic Empire at its peak. Fact number 3. The Huns were arguably the greatest horsemen in the entire world. The Huns were extraordinary horsemen, renowned for their mastery of horsemanship and archery. This expertise was a cornerstone of their military prowess, enabling them to execute complex maneuvers and tactics on the battlefield. They were especially adept at shooting arrows with remarkable accuracy while riding at full speed, a skill that struck fear into the hearts of their enemies. This form of mounted archery made the Huns formidable opponents, as they could swiftly attack and retreat with agility and coordination. Their equestrian skills were not only a military asset, but also a fundamental aspect of their nomadic lifestyle. Horses were integral to Hunnic society, used for mobility across the vast steppes during hunting and warfare. The bond between the Huns and their horses was profound, as these animals were central to their survival and success. The legacy of Hunnic horsemanship has had a lasting impact, influencing later nomadic groups and cavalry tactics in various cultures. Fact number 4. Attila and the Huns played mind games with their enemies. The Huns were military innovators, known for their advanced and unconventional tactics. One of their hallmark strategies was the feigned retreat, a deceptive maneuver designed to lure enemies into a trap. By pretending to flee in disarray, the Huns would entice their opponents to break formation and pursue them, only to turn around and launch a devastating counterattack. This tactic, combined with their mobility and proficiency in archery, made them unpredictable and difficult to defeat. Aside from their tactical ingenuity, the Huns also employed psychological warfare. Their reputation for brutality and their fierce appearance, often enhanced by their battle attire and tactics, served to intimidate and demoralize their enemies before the actual combat. This psychological edge, along with their military strategies, contributed significantly to their successes against more conventionally organized armies. The Hunnic approach to warfare left a lasting impression on military tactics and has been studied and emulated in various forms throughout history. Fact number 5. People were absolutely terrified of the Huns, and for good reason. The Huns were feared across Europe for their ferocity and military prowess. Their reputation as savage and merciless warriors was amplified by contemporary accounts, often written by those they opposed, like the Romans. These descriptions, likely exaggerated for propaganda purposes, portrayed the Huns as almost monstrous in appearance and behavior. They were depicted as ruthless in battle, sparing no one and reveling in destruction, an image that spread terror among their adversaries. This fear was not unfounded, as the Huns did employ brutal tactics and showed little mercy to those they conquered. Their swift and destructive raids, along with their seemingly unstoppable advances, contributed to this aura of fear. The Hunnic impact was psychological as well as physical. Their mere presence often led to panic and chaos. This fear factor played a strategic role in their military campaigns, as demoralized enemies were less likely to mount effective resistance. Fact number 6. Hunnic expansion triggered mass migration across Europe. The Huns significantly influenced the decline of the Roman Empire. Their invasions into Roman territories, particularly during the 5th century, exerted immense pressure on the already weakening empire. The Hunnic incursions forced numerous Germanic and other tribes to migrate, many of whom sought refuge within the Roman borders, leading to further destabilization. This movement of peoples, often called the Great Migration or Völkerwanderung, was a direct consequence of the Hunnic expansion and contributed to the eventual fall of the Western Roman Empire. The Huns not only caused direct military challenges to Rome, but also strained its resources and infrastructure. The Roman Empire, struggling to defend its vast borders against the Hunnic threat, had to divert resources to fortify its frontiers and pay tributes to the Huns. These tributes, aimed at appeasing Attila and his forces, significantly impacted the Roman economy. The Huns, therefore, played a crucial role in the series of events that led to the transformation of the ancient world and the dawn of the medieval period. Fact number 7. The Huns almost never stayed in a fixed location. The Huns led a predominantly nomadic lifestyle, constantly moving across the steppes of Central and Eastern Europe. This way of life was characterized by their reliance on portable shelters, as they did not establish permanent settlements. Their mobility allowed them to exploit resources over a vast area, adapt to changing environments, and respond swiftly to opportunities or threats. The steppes provided them with the necessary pasture lands for their horses and herds, which were central to their economy and way of life. Nomadism also influenced Hunnic social and political structures. Their society was organized around clan and tribal affiliations, with a strong emphasis on kinship and loyalty. Leadership was often based on merit and military prowess, rather than hereditary succession. The nomadic nature of the Huns contributed to their ability to rapidly expand their territory, as they were not tied to fixed locations. This lifestyle, while offering flexibility and mobility, also made it challenging for them to maintain a cohesive political structure, especially after the death of strong leaders like Attila. Fact number 8. The language of the Huns remains a mystery to this day. The Hunnic language remains one of the great mysteries of the ancient world. Very little is known about it, and it is largely undeciphered to this day. The primary reason for this obscurity is the lack of written records left by the Huns themselves. Most of what is known about them comes from external sources, such as Roman and Byzantine writers who did not record the Hunnic language. The few words and personal names that have survived are insufficient to provide a clear understanding of the language. Linguists have speculated about the possible affiliations of the Hunnic language, with theories ranging from it being a Turkic or Mongolic language. The uncertainty about their language adds to the enigma surrounding the Huns. Understanding their language would offer invaluable insights into their culture, origins, and interactions with other groups, but for now it remains a tantalizing and unsolved puzzle in the study of ancient languages and cultures. Fact number 9. The Huns reshaped the cultural landscape of multiple continents. Despite their reputation as fearsome warriors and conquerors, the Huns also played a significant role in facilitating cultural exchanges across their vast territories. Their empire, at its height, spanned a diverse range of regions, each with its own customs and traditions. The Huns themselves, being a nomadic and relatively adaptable people, absorbed and integrated various cultural elements from the peoples they encountered. This melange of cultures under the Hunnic rule led to a unique blend of art, traditions, and practices. Moreover, the Hunnic invasions and movements across Europe and Asia catalyzed interactions between different cultures and societies. They inadvertently became conduits for the exchange of ideas, technologies, and goods. The Huns' impact on the cultural landscape of Europe and Asia was thus more complex than their image as mere destroyers suggests. They contributed to the cultural dynamism of the period, setting the stage for the diverse cultural and political developments of the early Middle Ages. Fact number 10. The Huns were believed to artificially elongate their children's skulls. The depiction of the Huns' physical appearance in historical texts, primarily from Roman and Byzantine sources, is often exaggerated and biased. These accounts tended to emphasize strange and intimidating features, painting the Huns as fearsome and barbaric. For example, they were often described as having unique hairstyles and attire, and engaging in practices like the artificial deformation of their children's skulls, which was seen as a mark of their distinct and formidable identity. However, it's important to recognize that such descriptions were likely colored by the perspectives of the writers, who viewed the Huns as a formidable and alien threat. Archaeological findings offer a more nuanced perspective, suggesting that the Huns' appearance, while perhaps distinct, was not as outlandish as the ancient narratives imply. The physical characteristics of the Huns would have varied, given the ethnically diverse composition of their empire, which included not only the Huns but also Germanic, Iranian, Slavic, and other groups. This diversity implies a variety of physical appearances within the Hunnic population. The actual appearance of the Huns, therefore, was probably more typical of Eurasian nomadic tribes of the time, characterized by practical attire and equipment suited to their nomadic lifestyle and the harsh conditions of the steppes. Fact number 11. The Huns had a love-hate relationship with Germanic Gothic tribes. The Hunnic Empire's political landscape was defined by a complex network of alliances and hostilities. One of their key strategies was forming alliances with various Germanic tribes, such as the Ostrogoths and Gepids. These alliances were often pragmatic, based on mutual interests like military cooperation or sharing the spoils of war. The Huns' ability to forge such alliances was a testament to their diplomatic skills and contributed to their expansive reach across Europe. Conversely, the Huns were also known for their conflicts with several groups, most notably the Goths. These enmities were fueled by competition over territory, resources, and power. The Huns' relations with other tribes and empires were fluid, shifting between alliances and rivalries depending on the political and military circumstances. This dynamic interplay was a hallmark of their strategy and was instrumental in the expansion and maintenance of their empire. The Hunnic approach to alliances and enmities exemplifies the intricate political maneuvers that characterize the period and highlights their influence in shaping the geopolitical landscape of the time. Fact number 12. Little is known about the Huns' religious beliefs, but here's what we do know. The religious beliefs of the Huns are not well documented, but they are believed to have included elements of animism and shamanism. Animism involves the belief that natural objects, like rivers and mountains as well as animals, have spirits or are inhabited by deities. Shamanism, on the other hand, is centered around the practice of reaching altered states of consciousness to interact with the spirit world, often for healing or divination purposes. The Huns' religious practices likely involved rituals and ceremonies led by shamans, who were revered as mediators between the physical and spiritual worlds. Details about specific deities or religious doctrines in Hunnic culture are sparse, primarily due to the lack of written records from the Huns themselves. However, it is apparent that their religious beliefs were integral to their daily lives and societal structures. The spiritual beliefs of the Huns would have influenced their understanding of the world, their decision-making, and their interactions with other groups. As with many ancient cultures, religion was not a separate aspect of life, but woven into the fabric of their social, political, and military activities. Fact number 13. The Huns facilitated economic exchanges between different cultural regions. The Huns had a significant economic impact, particularly on the Roman Empire. One of their most notable economic strategies was the extraction of tributes from Rome. These tributes, which included gold, goods, and sometimes even people, were demanded by the Huns as part of peace agreements or as a condition for ceasing hostilities. The regular payment of such tributes placed a substantial strain on the Roman economy, diverting resources that could have been used for other purposes, such as infrastructure or military expansion. Apart from tributes, the Huns also impacted trade routes and economic systems across Europe and Asia. Their control over vast territories and their interactions with various peoples influenced trade networks, leading to shifts in economic centers and trade dynamics. The Hunnic influence on the economy was not solely destructive. In some cases, they facilitated trade and the exchange of goods by connecting different regions under their control. The economic legacy of the Huns is thus complex, involving both direct and indirect effects on the economies of the regions they touched. Fact number 14. Attila the Hun's death marked the beginning of the end for the Hunnic Empire. After the death of Attila in 453, the Hunnic Empire experienced a rapid decline. This sudden disintegration was primarily due to internal conflicts and the absence of a strong, unifying leader. Attila's death left a power vacuum, leading to struggles for succession among his sons and other Hunnic nobles. These internal divisions weakened the cohesion and military strength of the empire, making it vulnerable to external pressures. Additionally, the various subject peoples and allied tribes under Hunnic rule saw Attila's death as an opportunity to assert their independence or to seek revenge. Rebellions and revolts broke out, further fragmenting the empire. The once feared Hunnic military machine was no longer effective in suppressing these uprisings or in defending against external threats. The rapid disintegration of the Hunnic Empire following Attila's death highlights the extent to which it was dependent on his leadership and charisma. It also underscores the challenges inherent in maintaining a vast, diverse empire composed of numerous subjugated peoples and allies. Fact number 15. If it wasn't for the Huns, the Roman Empire may have survived a lot longer. The legacy of the Huns extends far beyond their military conquests and the fear they instilled in their contemporaries. They played a crucial role in the transformation of the political and cultural landscape of Europe during the early Middle Ages. The Hunnic invasions and movements contributed to the decline of the Roman Empire and the subsequent reshaping of Europe's political boundaries. They indirectly facilitated the rise of new powers and the formation of various medieval states. Culturally, the Huns influenced the regions they controlled or interacted with, contributing to the melting pot of ideas, practices, and technologies. Their role as a catalyst for the migration of peoples led to significant demographic changes and cultural exchanges. The memory of the Huns, particularly figures like Attila, has been immortalized in history, literature, and folklore, often serving as a symbol of nomadic might and the transformative power of migrations and conquests. The Huns' impact on history is a testament to the complex ways in which nomadic peoples have shaped the course of world events. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more fascinating history content.